Hello. Okay, so this week I'm going to take you through last week's video, which was this giant Jesus Christ Superstar medley. Check that out if you haven't already, because this will make a lot more sense. And I'm gonna kind of show you how to play some of my favorite parts, some of the trickier parts, in more of a tutorial style. So right at the beginning, the song is Heaven on Their Minds, and there's this little guitar interjection riff. In the original 1970 album version of Jesus Christ Superstar, it kind of happens throughout the whole thing. A lot of these little licks that I'm going to be showing you use natural breaks. And with the trombone, since we don't have valves, we have to utilize them because everything that we do has to be tongued. It's not like other instruments where you can actually just press down the valve and keep the airstream going. So we have to keep the airstream going, but tongue everything we play. So this is da 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 da, unless we find places where we don't have to. So if I don't tongue at all, it sounds like this. Now, if you notice, some of them did change notes. It wasn't a one long gliss. And so those are the ones that, if you don't want it to be tongued as like a staccato or shorter note, you don't actually have to tongue those. So from the A to the C, for just one example, there's a couple of them, but I'm only tonguing the G to the A, and then the C comes out on its own, as long as my lips are doing the right thing and my slide is doing the right thing. So that's the first one. This next one is Simon's big song, and it has, again, these interjections, but there's one of them that stands out, probably because I played it really, really loud in the arrangement, but here it is. So when we talk about playing super loud, this is kind of something that you'll hear a lot in Latin music. But the trick is to play that loud and not have it be distorted, still be in control of your pitch, of your focus, of just your sound. Not feel like you're losing control of the instrument. You're still in control of everything that's happening. It's just really loud. Kind of this block of sound. And so if I played it louder than I can play, it would sound like this. So now you know that I can go louder, but it doesn't sound good. So you kind of scale it in, and it would sound just fine if I took some off. So let's say you can't play that loud. So that's fine too, but I just decided this part I wanted just to be in your face, and so I decided that's where it was going to happen. The other thing with this is the rip at the beginning. And so this is something that maybe you'll hear with French horns a lot. It's kind of a characteristic sound for them, but it's just getting all of the partials on the way up. And it makes kind of a cool sound. So that's an alternative to glissing, I would say, on the trombone. Alright, these next licks are from What's the Buzz, and they're again these interjections that I think are really fun to play. So here's the first one. Alright, so that one uses this natural break thing, but like to the nth degree. I don't have to tongue any of those. I do tongue a couple of them to get that kind of harder attack, but all of those notes I don't have to tongue. I can, and it would sound like this. It's a little different, but going from your kind of 5.5 position, E flat, down to your second position A, and just catching the right notes in between. It's just a matter of practicing it slowly. And then you should be able to play this awesome bluesy lick, and of course you can transpose it a little bit. And you will be able to use the exact same technique in all of those keys. The next one, which is just a couple bars later, is another kind of really stereotypical blues lick. Now, this one I wanted, in contrast, to be tongued, and so all of it is, even the stuff that doesn't have to be with the natural breaks. Okay, moving on, we have Judas's part in Everything's Alright, and it has another kind of cool bluesy lick in it. So this is one of those examples where you kind of just have to hit the high note out of nowhere and expect yourself to play it and not kind of tense up or anything. Just get to the end of the phrase and don't focus too much on the high note, but you gotta play it. And one thing you can do if you're really not comfortable with it is play that high note and keep your lips on the horn and then play the whole phrase. And you'll be able to be ready for it because your embouchure will be on that high note, and then you just kind of have to sink down to play the lower, in this case, B. Your lips will be a little bit more used to playing those high notes, and you won't be so nervous about them, and then they'll just come out. Next, we have the kind of crazy passage in Gethsemane, and this is the one where Jesus screams the high G. I've actually heard it after I arranged it. I heard the original and it's an A flat, and I feel like I kind of wussed out, but I promise if I heard the original first, I would have arranged it in the higher key. I just didn't know. All right, so let's split it up. First, we have these large intervals. This is, again, one of those times where you kind of have to micromanage and have a low one and a high one and just switch between them. It's almost like a lip trill, but kind of this huge one. So is not so different from what I'm doing. It's just larger. And so this is B flat to A flat. And just practice it slowly. So that syncopated rhythm happens a few times, getting higher and getting a little bit more crazy, and then two beats rest, and then, of course, the high G, and it doesn't stay there. That would be too easy. So setting up for that in those 2 beats of rest, it's a big breath in, it's relaxing everything, and hoping it will come out, assuming that it will, not assuming that it won't, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'll rip up to it, which makes it a little bit easier. Sometimes if it feels like it's gonna come out, it just does. All right, skipping to the end, there's a cool bass trombone part in Jesus Christ Superstar, the main theme, and this is just a bass part that I transcribed from one of the recordings that I really liked. So it's straight up an electric bass, grooving really hard on the Jesus Christ Superstar theme. So let's play through that a little bit. Couple bars later, there's an interjection leading into the angels singing, and it's the bass trombone and the third trombone in octaves. It's pretty cool. It sounds like this. Finally, we have this awesome horn line that is in the original, and it just kind of pushes us through to the end. Let's start with the bass trombone, and I'll split it up into 3 chunks. So it starts with this lead in, and then goes into the part that you probably have heard before. And then I took it down an octave, because why not? And then back up the octave, leading into that famous end lick. And with the other horns involved, the clarity comes out. Because those low notes you'll feel, but you probably won't hear most of them. But some of them are in octaves, and that really pushes it. So, and we add on the top, which is a little bit in octaves again, and it's kind of annoying to play, but just stick with it. And finally, at the very end, I'm kind of just blowing over everything, and this lick comes out. So that's... and again, you don't really have to tongue anything. I do for the shorter notes, but the rest of them, as long as your lips are doing the right thing, it will come out. And there you have it. So thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comments if you liked this sort of thing. I will probably be doing more of these on my second channel, See Bleezy Knows. They'll be a little shorter. They'll probably just take one little lick and talk about it a lot more and how to practice it and stuff. But otherwise, just let me know what you think. And shout out to Con Selmer for making these educational videos also possible. And I will see you guys next week.